talked about it, and when Megan talked about it, to me the Media Lab was this kind of big brand, really impressive thing, sounded like a great platform is kind of where people would use. And so when I came in, I wasn't really sure if it was going to be the right thing for me. It was the first day that I came in that Patty and everybody had organized, and I didn't meet everybody, but I met a bunch of people. I met some of your students, and I met a lot of the faculty. It was kind of like a speed dating session where I had maybe 15 or 30 minutes with everybody. And when I looked at the schedule, I thought I was going to be completely exhausted and scared. And actually, when I walked in the building, I was kind of intimidated because it was so big and so awesome and so on. But the minute the meeting started, I felt just energized. And after the 2 days of meetings, I felt more excited about everything than I'd ever been, as far as I can remember. And so just the sheer sort of energy of just talking to so many smart people, one after another, with each person being completely different, but having this kind of sort of DNA or this sort of substrate thing that connected everybody together. And the other thing that made it feel like home for me is I always used to get beaten up for being, different or trying to connect things together that aren't supposed to connect together. But I think Hugh was like, Joe, you really need, I think, a tissue scientist, or everybody was talking about the kind of other person that they would need in their group to do this other thing. And what I realized is that the reason my life is so scattered and conflicted and crazy is because I'm trying to do these complex solutions that I can't fit into any institution that I belonged to in the past. But what was really amazing about the Media Lab, it felt like it was the one place where there was nothing that you weren't allowed to do at the Media Lab, and so there wasn't any other place that you needed to go to. I mean, obviously you would connect to things in other parts of the world, and you had to go and you were part of the web of the world, but as a home base, I felt like the Media Lab was the one place that I could kind of do everything, and that there was somebody in the lab that would be interested in everything that I had to say, because I think I put this in, I think it was in the press release, but I wish it was me that had said this. It was my sister when we asked, what are you interested in? And she said, after she thought about it for a while, everything. And it's not like you guys are interested in everything, but the idea is that you could be interested in anything, and it would be okay. And so to me, the energy and the passion and just how engaged everybody was, but also the environment that the lab has, that nothing is off limits, and that the more out of bounds it is, the more credit you get. It was just something that I had always kind of yearned for. And again, I do think there's a honeymoon period. It's kind of like I have this love at first sight crush on the Media Lab right now, and you guys are kind of excited about certain things, and so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of detail, a lot of stuff that we have to work out, and there'll be stuff that works and stuff that doesn't. I'm trying really hard not to. Everybody's kind of asking me, what are you going to do with the lab? What's your vision? I'm trying very hard not to make commitments, because I really want to understand the next level down, which is what's going on at the lab. Because the thing is, I have this somewhat weird pathology. It's almost what do you call it? It's I love to talk to smart academics and sort of live through them. It's kind of like a codependent thing. I think it comes from having a sister who's smarter than you. And so then I spend all my time sitting down with my sister who goes deep, and then trying to connect her to all the different people that I know and all the different networks that I know. And I surround myself with academics who are smarter than me. And what I do is I like to try to provide context. But I also know that providing random context to random people isn't really useful. I hate it when I go to my hometown and my grandmother's parents would say, oh, you must meet my son. He's into computers too. That's sort of like, connecting your network isn't about some big power connection. And so when I posted that somewhere that, I'm going to connect my network to the Media Lab, somebody thought about it in this old traditional way, which is, Joey's going to bring his power and influence onto the Media Lab, and those are going to combine, and 1 + 1 is 2. That's totally not the right metaphor. The right metaphor is much more of a sort of biological, synaptic metaphor. It's the fact that the woman that I know in Sharjah who's turning sand into bricks using biology needs to talk to some architect who's going to be able to figure that out. And it's these really small connections things that connect at that level that really provide the maximum benefit, the maximum change. And I'll never be able to help or contribute in that way until I know in detail, as much as my brain can understand, everything that's going on in the lab. And so for me to really, I think, connect, I really need to understand what's going on. I need to feel what everyone is passionate about, and only after that can I really start contributing at the level that I'd like to. I mean, I think there's some general stuff, because since we have some already set in motion directions on the sponsorship stuff and things like that, I think I can start working on rather quickly. But I do think that just in terms of some logistics, I've got a bunch of junk that I've committed to that I need to sort of offload over the next couple of months, and then I need to probably start transitioning. I think that the administrators and everyone were kind of sort of homing into September or so as my real start date, although I'll be visiting often as soon as May 5th coming up. But what I'll try to do is the first, sort of probably in the fall, I'll try to spend a lot of time there and try to get to know everybody. And I really want to get to know everybody and everything, and as much as you're willing to share with me, and really see where my network, my brain fits into what's going on there. And then I think we need to figure out what the percentage of my time will be of going out versus bringing things in versus sort of cogitating with you all. And in the meantime, though, I don't know how connected and online everybody is, but whenever I'm sitting in front of my computer, I usually have Instant Messenger, IRC, and Twitter, and Skype on. And whenever I have those up, it means that I'm okay to be interrupted. So I'll send out an email later with all of my IDs, but I'm really, not only am I willing, I'm really excited. This is usually what happens, by the way. This month I go around the world twice, which means my sleep cycle is completely screwed. And so what happens, I find myself at 3 o'clock in the morning, staring at my screen, having just finished all my email, sort of lonely, and when I get a little IM from somebody with a cool idea, it sort of makes my day. And so, the fact that I have my hand open usually means I'm awake. I don't answer to color because I've fallen asleep on my keyboard, but just feel free to instant message me or connect with me by email or anything like that. I finally got my email yay, and so you can email me also at Joi at media.mit.edu. And I really want to learn as much as I can, as quickly as I can. So just use whatever communication protocol works best for you, whether that's hanging out in my IRC channel with my friends, or instant message me directly, or setting up a meeting when I'm in town, or doing a Skype call. And I think what I'm really interested in is kind of if you have any questions, because I sort of have, again, having only spent a few days there, I'm near the limit of how much I can I can suggest.
So questions from everyone. Again, you'll have to come down here on this microphone. I've already listened extensively in this whole process. I know everything I need to know.
Is he going to have a research group?
Are you going to have a research group? Is one of the questions.
So, right now I don't have a plan to have a research group. I think that for me, the lab itself, I want the lab itself to be my work. Right? And so, and I'm too scatterbrained to be able to focus on one thing like that. I think my whole thing is going to be that I want to be involved in everything everybody is doing. I may focus on particular groups or particular people if there's a project to try to get funding or to connect it to something or something like that. So I may, kind of zoom in every once in a while. But I want to be involved in everything and at a layer where I'm not really. I'm not very good at writing papers. I'm not really good at focusing for a long time on one thing. And so I think the reason why my sister and I work well together is that's what she does. She's deep dived 2 PhDs and is all about rigor. And she beats me up about that all the time. And then I'm always talking to her about, well, you need to impact this place, and you need to talk to this person, you need to publish here. And I'm always trying to drag her out of the house. similar attention, and if it's successful, I'll feel my success. So my research is kind of how the dynamics. I love building communities. Communities are my kind of work, whether it's my World of Warcraft guild or my IRC channel or open source community or the Japanese activists that I work with. Kind of getting a group of people that are kind of crazy to sort of be somewhat functional is the things that I get really proud of, and that's suggesting that you guys